Welcome to the Science of Getting Rich for Women podcast, where we unlock the secrets to wealth and prosperity. I'm your host, Jessica Marie, a radical money coach.
And I'm Amy Bell, master designer, brand consultant, and founder of White Lightning Communications.
Together, we'll dive deep into the scientific principles of wealth outlined in the Science of Getting Rich, ensuring financial abundance with mathematical certainty.
Join us for real, empowering conversations about money, wealth, and the mindset shifts needed for true prosperity.
Whether you're ready to rise up or already on your journey to riches, tune in weekly for insights that will elevate your wealth consciousness. I beat you.
You did.
Oh my gosh. Welcome back to another episode of the Science of Getting Rich for Women podcast and live stream. It's Friday, and I don't know about you, Amy, but is the sun shining where you are? I hope it is. Oh, okay, good. I am literally having the best day. I mean, so side note, I started implementing this new thing called my $1 Million Morning. And really what it is, it's doing the things first thing in the morning that feed your mind, feed your body, and feed your spirit before you get into anything. And it's literally changing my energy. It's changing the way I feel. I'm getting more productive, and the most important things that need to get done are getting done first. And as a result, I feel amazing.
Well, that is like acting in a certain way, isn't it?
You're right. You know what? That ties in so perfectly with this week's chapter.
It does.
It's all about action. Like, here we go, ladies. We have been talking about creating that clear mental image of that which you desire and holding that vision with faith and purpose and gratitude that it is coming. It is on its way. Now, what I have discovered is that up until this point, sometimes what happens is we start thinking like, okay, is it really happening? Are things really on their way? Like, what is going on? I'm not exactly noticing anything. But here is exactly the point where your vision intersects with personal action. And this chapter is going to start it off with acting in the certain way. You've got to do, you've got to act, you've got to decide. You know what I'm saying, Amy?
I hear you, sister. I hear you.
Shall I just dive into the chapter? Because I've highlighted, as I always like to do, some poignant sentences. All right, I'll get right into it.
Yeah. Go. You go.
Okay.
Go into it. I'm
Okay.
here to respond at your whim.
Okay. So here's the thing, ladies. Chapter 11, acting in the certain way. He writes, thought is the creative power or the impelling force which causes the creative power to act. Thinking in a certain way will bring riches to you, but you must not rely upon thought alone, paying no attention to personal action. You see, that is the rock upon which many otherwise scientific metaphysical thinkers meet their shipwreck. The failure to connect thought with personal action. You cannot just sit back and think about things that you want to experience, that you want to be, that you want to do, and that you want to have. Action is required. And that action allows for the reception of the thing you desire. You see, you've got to be able to notice the thing when it arrives and then receive it. If you don't have it in your awareness that it's right there in front of you and all you need to do is receive it, is to say yes, is to raise your hand, is to decide and do the thing, it's not going to be realized. And so that's why this chapter is so important if you actually want to get rich, if you want to realize your big dream of having more, of doing more, of being more. Action is absolutely critical and essential to the scientific approach of getting rich.
There was a time back about, 10, 12 years ago when I first got into this sort of laws of the universe thing. And of course, I think a lot of us all started with The Secret and learning about the law of attraction. And in the whole message behind that overarching message that people understood was the thoughts become things part of it. And they didn't really dig deep into the fact that you have to act in a certain way, like you said, in order to be able to be aware of when that thing shows up. So, they do the little tricks like, drive and imagine all the green lights on your way to work, and imagine the parking spot is just appearing out of nowhere from, close to the shopping center. But you are in your car driving. You are taking the action to drive. You can't sit in your living room and go, all the lights on the way to work are going to be green, and you haven't actually gotten your car to receive the green lights when they come up. So even though some people were doing those kind of law of attraction tricks, or not tricks, but like little steps to get validation that the law of attraction is real, they did have to go take some sort of action. And this chapter is expanding on that, where you are thinking and putting this vision into your mind about what you really want, a certain dollar amount, a new home, a great relationship. But at the same time, you can't sit and hole up in your home and just imagine that your white knight is going to come walking through your patio door at any point. Like, you actually got to put yourself out there, or you've got to let it be known that you're looking, or that you have to be bold in making the statement of what you want, and then going out and actually taking steps to get to it.
Yeah, like, amen, sister. Absolutely. You have to make the choices to put yourself in the situations where the opportunities can present themselves to you. Because when you create this mental image of that which you desire to the detail, and you hold it with faith and purpose that you do get what you want, that it is on its way, you have to be willing to act and put yourself in those places where the opportunities are going to present themselves. And then when the opportunities do present themselves, you have to be willing to receive them and say yes and raise your hand and all the things. And this really ties in with the whole goal setting thing, because goals are the driving force to realize the things that you desire. And when you are aligned with your goal, you have a particular vibration, and that vibration is a match for all the people, opportunities, connections that are available to you and that will present themselves to you. And that's really what the law of attraction is. Like, when I look at the 7 universal laws, there is no law of attraction in there, but the law of attraction is the law of vibration. And it's likes attract likes. And so when you are at a particular vibration, you are a match for everything else in the universe that is at that vibration. If you want to experience more wealth and rise into greater levels of prosperity, you have to change your vibration. And the way you do that is by setting a goal. It becomes the driving force that now allows you to change the way you think, to change your behavior, and ultimately change your results. Because this is a science. It is an exact science, and failure is impossible. But people, they don't know the science. And see, they're creating their realities consciously or unconsciously. When you're creating your reality unconsciously, you're a victim of your circumstance. You don't see yourself as a powerful creator. And as such, you have a certain level of results. But when you become more conscious and aware that you are a powerful creator, that you can create your reality with your mind, then you get to have fun. Then you get to play in this space of imagination, fantasy, and you get to create a whole new reality. And it gets to be fun. It gets to be effortless. Like literally, you can sit back in your day instead of pushing and forcing and efforting and hustling, which really is hard work. You literally can sit back. Yes, you must act, and yes, you must do, but you can allow things to unfold in this divine, perfect way. And you can make the connections and be like, oh my gosh, wow, I had no idea that this was going to happen this way. And it becomes magical. Life becomes magical and it's fun.
Yeah. Yes. I want to see. Hold on one second. I think. Yes, I do. So when you're talking about acting in a certain way and creating the energy around what you really want. I mean, in this book, we're talking about the science of getting rich. So we might as well talk about money in this case, right? So I just finished a magazine for Whitney Hammond, who is a financial expert, and she's working on empowering women, right? And her thought, even before she started to really get into, the laws and all that stuff, was that you should create buckets for different areas of your life. And there is a bit in here about the buckets. Where did it go? I just want to show you. I love the buckets because it's physical buckets like bank accounts, your real estate investments, like all of those would count as different buckets. But for the person who's just starting out, it's a bank account that you chuck $25 a month in.
Yeah.
And by virtue of having the bank account, you are making a statement to the universe that it must be filled, this bucket. And also it is attracting opportunity to you because now you've got this money bucket that says, I got money. And this is for my dreams bucket. And so when it starts to build up, you can see now that opportunities are coming your way. And of course, the larger the bucket, the more opportunities or the more things you can say yes to when they show up on your door, like investing in a friend's business or investing in your own education or taking a vacation or things that you may have had to say no to before because you didn't actually physically create the bucket to keep putting money into. And now Whitney is at a point where she just manifests like a mofo because she's actually like, I spend 120,000, I get, 200 back or 500 back, right? So that's the level that you can get to. But we've got, and really we've just listed it as buckets. Like create the buckets. The money will have to come to fill the bucket. Like, if I don't have an account for future saving or for dreams or for short-term little things that come up, then I'm always going to be scrambling when an opportunity comes up. But if I have the bucket come, and I may have to say no to that opportunity because I don't have the bucket available to be able to pay out the money for it, right? So I love the bucket concept and anyone can use it and start it. And we've probably all got several on the go already, but an automatic deposit into the bucket every month or a certain percentage of an invoice goes into that bucket every month. Just like, your tax account, you take your tax money, you put it into that bucket so you have it. Then the same thing happens for these things. So energetically, you're calling in the money to go into the bucket. Energetically, you're calling in the opportunities by acting in the certain way of creating them in the first place.
Exactly. And I love the idea of the buckets. For me, they're multiple little savings accounts connected to my checking account. And I actually started this back in January of 2019 when I set out on this debt free journey. And I created these 5 different savings accounts that were connected to my checking account. Every time I got paid, I would distribute money to each of them. And they were for different things. And now they weren't for long-term savings. They were for those things throughout the year, or maybe after a couple of years that you want to save up for. So, like for example, Christmas. I know, if you have kids, every time Christmas comes, it's like, oh man, like you got a lot of shopping to do. And if you
It's
don't
like
have the
a
money
shock.
already there,
It's a shock that Christmas even arrives every year.
right? Yeah, and it's like, either, you charge it on your credit card, and then it takes quite a while to pay back, if you can't pay it all back in one lump sum, or you start putting money, into this bucket, into this savings account on a regular basis, and then you get to the end of the year, it's Black Friday, and you're like, oh my gosh, like, whatever, I got a couple $1,000s in there. And so, just like you said, energetically, you are creating the space for money to flow through. If you don't have the space for the money to go, well, the money's not going there. But create the space, and now you're calling it in. Brilliant,
Well, the
brilliant.
other the other thing that is one of the things that Whitney teaches is that you put it into the savings bucket, an asset savings bucket that's going to make you money. So you're putting that away, and then the interest is what you can spend on Black Friday, not the principal amount. So
Well, if you have enough money that you're gaining that much
yeah.
interest,
Well,
yeah.
that's what we're creating, right? So if you're putting it into those, and then you're getting into an investment that is actually creating the interest enough to be able to buy the things that you want without having to touch that principal. That's the point we're all trying to get.
Yeah, yeah.
Getting the things that you want with your money making money, as opposed to you spending the principal amount and then it's just going to something else. But this is all ways that people can act in order to build wealth or attract opportunities for business or find the right mate or all of that stuff, right? And
Yeah.
so I feel that we just need to understand that we can't just sit around. And I think a lot of people get that now. Like there's been a lot of talk about, the law of attraction or law of vibration, and not being able to do it just sitting around. So that happened a while ago when it first came out. Like I'll wiggle my nose and shit will show up, but that's not how it works. And I think that shocked a lot of people when the notion first came out. But now a lot of people are talking this way. Like obviously you have to act in a certain way. Oh, you've got a free masterclass. Look at that.
Oh, yes. Oh my God, this is really exciting. So if anyone who is listening to this now, or next week, I'm going to be doing a free 5-day masterclass. If you are interested in going deeper into the science of getting rich so that you can implement and integrate these principles in your life so that you can begin to see real results. I mean, literally, things will start shifting. When you change the way you think, when you change the way you behave, it is inevitable that your results will also change. And it's so much fun. I did this a few months ago, and the ladies inside that space, and it is just for ladies, of course, were experiencing big energetic shifts, big paradigm shifts. And it had, I know, a lasting effect on a lot of women in there. I'm doing it again next week, June 10th to the 14th, Monday to Friday. Come in there. It's a free group, free experience. Learn these time-tested, infallible principles so that you can see real results in your life. So that's something that's really exciting that's coming up. And also, I wanted to point out again how powerful your thoughts are. Like, oh my gosh, your thoughts are so powerful that they are creating your reality. And also, they affect the way you act. Your thoughts literally are connected to the way you behave, which of course is reflected in your results. I want to point out, he says in the book here that your thoughts make all things, animate and inanimate, work to bring you what you want. But your personal activity must be such that you can rightly receive what you want when it reaches you. You are not to take it as charity, nor to steal it. You must give every woman more in use value than she gives you in cash value. He says the scientific use of thought consists in forming a clear and distinct mental image of what you want, in holding fast to the purpose to get what you want, and in realizing with grateful faith that you do get what you want. You do get what you want. If you are in a position where you're looking at your life, you're looking at your circumstances, and you're saying to yourself, well, I don't want this. This isn't what I want. I'm going to invite you to contemplate that and to really reflect on that, because you do get what you want. And
Yeah,
if what you
you do get what you want, good or bad,
and consciously or unconsciously, right? So if you're looking around at your circumstance and you're saying, I don't want this, like, what you're saying is false. Your attitude is everything. And if your attitude has such a vibration that it is of lack, it is of limitation, it is of separation from all that you desire, then you are going to create an experience of lack and limitation. You are creating that experience. You could be the poorest person in the world, but if you see abundance, beauty, opportunity, love, wherever you go, you are going to begin to attract things into your experience that are going to give you more opportunities, more connections, more love, more beauty, more prosperity, all the things that you desire. So your thoughts are creating your reality, conscious or unconscious. Make sense? Does that make sense?
Yeah. So essentially what you have to do is look around you at your environment and at how you're feeling, because your dominant thought is what's going to be showing up in your environment. And so if you're in a space where you're not happy, or if you're in a space where you're extremely happy, it's evidence and it's proof that you're getting what you want or getting what your dominant thought is. And so I would rather make my dominant thought, my name is Amy Bell and everything works out for me in my favor. My name is Amy Bell and I am attracting abundance like a giant magnet. Like, until it becomes what you really believe, you just have to keep repeating it and repeating it and repeating it. Like, make it your mantra. And then eventually you are going to buy into the fact that this is happening. You can't keep repeating something that positive and still resist it on every angle, if I'm having a time where I'm feeling like I'm going into a deep dive of a rabbit hole that is just ridiculous, then, and I'm sure lots of people do, like, your evidence is like, that's not so good, Amy. And right now I just immediately go to this book. I go to my wall of color energetically. I start spritzing that stuff around. I listen to my favorite people to listen to, like Abraham Hicks. I always find that if I need to be snapped out of a negative mindset, or if I'm having trouble getting over something, everything that comes out of that woman's mouth just makes me feel better. So you have to figure out a state change trigger for you. And the faster you can make that state change, the better. So if I can go from having these dominant negative thoughts to having dominant positive thoughts, or at least a vibration higher than the negative thought, as quickly as possible, and then just state change all the time. And even when you're in a positive state, you can go to an even positiver state. Like, I'm in a great mood. How can I amp that up?
Yeah. Yeah. There's always another level. Like when you are ascending and going up, there is always another level. And, I love what you were talking about. These stories that we tell ourselves, they're on repeat, they're on a loop in our head, and then we believe them. So for example, this week I was working with someone, and, she said, I never win anything. I never win anything. And that became her mantra. I never win anything. I'm not a winner. I never win anything. And so she believes that because that's what she always says. And think of the things in your lives, that you always say to yourself. These then become your reality.
Oh my God.
But what happened?
Yeah, go.
Huh?
Sorry, go.
What happened and what was exciting is that because of our conversation, and she was able to shift her thinking and start to think in things in a different way. She sent me a text the next day and she goes, oh my gosh, you're never going to believe this. I won something. And I just celebrated it so much. I go, see, you are a winner. You are a winner and you win.
And look how fast she did that. Look how fast.
Yes.
That's the thing that we really need to pay attention to. Because once you make the state change, once you change the mantra, you can manifest really, really quickly. I think about children, they believe in unicorns and just happy, joy all over the place. And that's how we came to this planet. Everything is possible. I can be an astronaut. I can be a rocket scientist. I can be a doctor. I can be whatever I want to be. And then over time, the mantra starts to shift into a more negative pattern in some cases. Some people just go through their whole life and everything is because of that mindset, because of the people they surrounded themselves with, like parents or whatever, fed that to them. They're on the go. So we have to take years and years and years of negative mantras and switch them. But the great thing is the universe has no time limit. So you can switch that mantra right then, and the next day, like your client, boom, she wins. After how many years? How old is she? Let's say 40 years old, 40 years of I'm not a winner. I don't win anything. I've never won anything. And then you change her in 1 hour saying you are a winner. You can win stuff. Change the story. And then 24 hours later, she's won. What the hell is that? That alone is evidence.
That's exactly what it is. It's proof and evidence that what you say matters. Your words matter. They have a frequency and a vibration, which then goes out into the interspaces of the universe, and it becomes a match for other things. And when you say things like, this is what I say all the time, everything is always working out for me. It's always working out for me. And, when I got together with my partner, he was kind of the opposite. He was kind of the opposite. And I had to literally show him evidence of how everything is always working out. Something would happen and it would look like a wrench in the gears or a curveball from life. And then something would come in that would just solve the problem. And I go, see? Everything is always working out. It could be something as simple as, I remember one time we were in the car and it was pouring. It was pouring rain. And as soon as we pulled into the driveway, it literally stopped raining. And I go, see? It's always working out for us. We don't have to get out in the rain.
Yeah.
It's what you say that creates your reality.
And the energy behind what you say as well.
Yes.
So the why of what you want. So I was listening to Abraham Hicks, and she was walking in her property, and she's in sort of a desert area, and it was really dry, and she was noticing the grass was dry. And then she thought she had this thought come to her that I want it to rain. I want rain. And so her Abraham that she channels is like, why do you want the rain? And I want the rain because the birds need it. And I want the rain because it will feed the earth. And I want the rain because it smells beautiful after it rains. And I want the rain so, nature can be fed and I can be fed and we don't have to go into lack. And then within hours, it starts raining from a drought. Like, we do have incredible powers to change even Mother Nature if we want to. And so understanding that we are that powerful, like you said in the beginning of this, we are that powerful. And it's kind of scary to think that we are that powerful. And I think that is what stops people from asking and wanting and letting their imagination go wild and then acting on it. Like, if I have to act in a certain way, and that means I have to go speak in front of, 3,000 people, but imagine what that would do, the opportunities that would open up. But my fear may have stopped me from doing it because I was the one who said, I'm sick on speech day in grade 8. I hated talking. I hated it so much. Oh my God. But I've gotten better over the years of just, swallowing the fear and doing it anyway. And what's the worst that can happen? Nothing. So I understood that stepping off the ledge and doing something that's really fearful, because on the other side of fear, things are so amazing. You just do it. Act in a certain way, even if it scares the shit out of you. You just have to do it, because if you know in your gut that it is the thing that's going to move mountains for you, then you got to do it.
Well, the thing is, like, how bad do you really want it, right? Like, we talk about becoming wealthy, becoming rich. Like, everybody on the surface level has that desire to have more and do more and be more. But not everybody really wants it. Like is willing to do whatever it takes. And, he writes here in, I like what he talks about in this chapter. He talks about that, there are some people in their current situation that they don't really like where they're at. They don't like their job. They don't want to be doing what they're doing. And they think that because they're in this position where they don't want to be, they have to wait to act in a certain way. They have to wait to do the things, right? And he says, no. He says, act where you are right now. That you can't act in the present. You can't act in the future. You can only act right now. So if you begin thinking in the certain way and acting in the certain way in your current job, in your current circumstance, in your current position, those opportunities that you desire for a better life, a better business, will be drawn to you. So don't waste time thinking, oh, I can't act in a certain way now because I'm not where I want to be. No, he says, no, that is not going to help you get into the circumstance that you desire. He says, you cannot act where you are not. You cannot act where you have been, and you cannot act where you are going to be. You can act only where you are. He says, hold with faith and purpose, the vision of yourself in the better environment, and act upon your present environment with all your heart and with all your strength and with all your mind. Do not spend any time in daydreaming or castle building. Hold to the one vision of what you want and act now. Act now, where you are now. So if you are watching this and you are in a situation where, you're not in that dream job, you don't like, what you're doing, just know that by following the principles of this book, creating that clear mental image of that which you desire, and thinking in the certain way, acting in the certain way, new opportunities will be drawn to you. And then you will be able to make the decisions to move into different circumstances. There is no time but now. You must act now.
Yeah, agreed. I think I was just having a conversation with my stepson yesterday about a summer job. He's 14. And, he said, Amy, all there is out there for me is sandwich artists, like at Subway or Mr. Sub or something like that. And I said, then you go in and you be the best flippin' sandwich artist that you can be, because you never know who's going to walk in the door and see this, happy sandwich artist who's making them feel great and he's giving them good service. Because a lot of students are very shy, or they're, just, here's your sandwich dip, and like they're not excited. They have to wrap their heads around the fact that this is the stepping stone to get to the next place. And so, even if you're in a job where you are not happy, like you were saying, you are thinking in your mind, I am in my job. When I sit at my computer here and I look out this window, I see the ocean because I want to be living on the ocean. I look out and I see, traffic and motorcycles, but in my mind, I actually see that I'm looking at a beautiful ocean beach. And eventually, if that's what I keep seeing, that's going to be my view. But in the moment, I'm acting in this moment because, of course, that's all we've got. Like you said, you can't think about the future or the past. You have to think in this now. And so in this now, I'm looking at what I want to see. And some people can call it rose-colored glasses, like my ex-husband used to say, you live in a fairyland. But no, I'm living as if the woman Amy Bell is. And she has standards and she has a view that she wants and she drives a car that she wants. And so I've had experience with the car. I've had experience with just visioning it so hard that I get what happens. Like I can make a lot of stuff happen when I put my mind to it. So I think, yes, my partner right now is in a transition from doing a job for 25 years that he doesn't want to do anymore. And now he's focusing on what he does want to do and taking steps to make that happen. And then it'll happen.
It has to happen.
Yeah.
It's science. It's science.
Right. Oh, I totally forgot about that. No. That's the book we're reading. Yeah, it's mathematically precise how everything happens. And when I look at the universe and how it conspires in our favor and wants to, that's its desire. That's the interspaces, the thinking stuff's desire is to make all of our dreams come true and make life easy and happy for us. We just get stuck in our own way and give it reasons not to and send it flowing in the other direction, which is our own doing.
Oh my gosh. When we align with our true power, we are magical. Like we are miraculous. Like we can do anything we desire. We just got to get out of our way, let go of the resistance, let go of the judgment, and allow it to come to us. Allow it all in. He ends this chapter with the creed, and I thought it would just be appropriate to end this episode with it. He says, "There is a thinking stuff from which all things are made, and which in its original state permeates, penetrates, and fills the interspaces of the universe. A thought in this substance produces the thing that is imaged by the thought. Woman can form things in her thoughts, and by impressing her thoughts upon formless substance, can cause the thing she thinks about to be created." Let that resonate. Let that marinate.
Thanks, Jessica. It's
Thank
always
you,
fun
Amy.
to enter into the weekend after talking about this book with you, because it's just reinforcing with every Friday things that we can do to be productive on the weekend, to get ready for next week, to take action right now. You know, entrepreneurs don't get to sleep on the weekend, people. We're always talking, especially if you love what you do. I never, ever think about it as work. So go out and do something this weekend that is acting in that certain way. Start a new ritual, do something that inspires you, and just see what happens. And then come back next Friday and tell us.
Yes, that would be so cool. Have a great weekend, Amy.
You too.
Bye. Thank you all for joining us today on the Science of Getting Rich for Women podcast. Your presence means the world to us.
Before you go, we have a special request. If you found today's episode enlightening, please take a moment to leave us a review on your favorite podcast platform. Your feedback helps us reach more incredible listeners like yourself.
And don't forget to share this episode with your friends and family who are ready to rise to new levels of prosperity.
Before we sign off, remember to connect with us on Facebook and get yourself a copy of The Science of Getting Rich for Women on Amazon.
As we close out today's episode, remember how powerful you are. Hold strong with faith and purpose that you do get what you want, and watch as the universe conspires to fulfill your dreams.